In the volatile Middle East region, a discouraging panorama looms on the horizon, marked by the aggressive and reckless actions of Iranian proxies, as well as alarming attacks on civilian ships. The United States, the United Kingdom and Israel, in a diplomatic and military dance, seek to quell the activities of Iranian proxies in an effort to restore the long-awaited regional stability. At the epicenter of this tense scenario, the US-led coalition forces intensify their self-defense operations. Last night, in an almost cinematic sequence, the US Navy in the Red Sea unleashed its sixth significant offensive against the Iranian-backed Yemeni Houthi rebels. Remarkably, this operation was carried out just 22 hours after the fourth round of attacks, underscoring how quickly tensions are escalating and dangers emerging. We now turn to the fifth round of US attacks against the Houthi rebels, marked by collaboration with Israeli intelligence. We will also explore in detail the preparations and measures taken by Israel, the United States, and Western powers in response to the growing Iranian threat. In a tense web of events, the US military launched its fifth offensive last Thursday, targeting anti-ship missiles into the Red Sea in an attempt to neutralize Houthi weapons in Yemen. Hours after the forceful response, US authorities stated that the main objective was to disable more than a dozen Houthi missiles ready to be fired. About a quarter of the Houthi arsenal was reduced to rubble, according to a Pentagon official. US Central Command CENTCOM announced this action on Thursday, framing it as part of ongoing multinational efforts to safeguard freedom of navigation and prevent attacks on warships in the strategic Red Sea. CENTCOM firmly stated that the missiles, aimed south of the Red Sea, were about to be launched when they were detected. The imminent threat they posed to commercial vessels and the US Navy in the region was not taken lightly. At 15:40 Sanaa time, US forces identified these projectiles in Houthi-controlled areas of Yemen, determining that they constituted an urgent threat to the US fleet and commercial vessels in the area. To counter this dangerous situation, US forces, according to the CENTCOM statement, shot down and destroyed the missiles. The statement underlines the defensive nature of the recent anti-ship attacks, emphasizing that they responded to the need to protect US ships from a potential threat. However, the statement did not detail whether these were cruise or ballistic missiles, leaving room for mystery amid regional tension. It indicates that 18 US units participated in the operation, without specifying which forces exactly. There is speculation that US and Israeli intelligence services anticipated Houthi plans to attack the US fleet and commercial vessels in the region. The fifth round of strikes not only focused on neutralizing anti-ship missiles, but also on Houthi underground arsenals. Collaboration between Israeli and American intelligence was crucial in determining the location and target of these attacks. Israel, with its advanced military and technological infrastructure, as well as its experience in detecting Iranian underground bunkers, tunnels, and proxy arsenals, has played a leading role. Although US and British forces have a significant presence in the region, the Israeli military's agility in policing stands out. The Israeli military's drones, spy satellites, and intelligence capabilities act as a crucial source of information for its American allies. These attacks, along with other ongoing measures, are presented as a strategy to weaken the Houthis' ability to carry out their reckless assaults on international and commercial shipping in the Red Sea, the Strait of Bab el-Mandeb, and the Gulf of Aden. The question that arises is whether the US-led coalition approach, backed by Israeli intelligence, will be able to effectively stop persistent Houthi attacks. Furthermore, in a broader geopolitical context, the question arises about the impact of the coalition's activities in the face of Iran's growing influence among the Houthis, especially considering Iran's recent incursions into Syria, Iraq, and Pakistan. At the very heart of the changing dynamics of this conflict, crucial questions arise that shape the implications for regional stability and global maritime security. We delve into a tapestry of events that reveals the complexity of the situation. What triggered the fifth round of US attacks? The answer lies in the attack by Houthi forces on a US ship near the Yemeni coast of Mukalla, a day after the fourth US air offensive against the Iranian-backed rebels. Horrific images of a US cargo ship with a hole in its side, the result of a drone attack by the Houthi rebels, revealed the escalation of violence. The Henko Picardy, sailing in the Gulf of Aden towards Tamil Nadu, India, was hit when it was least expected. The attack, which occurred around midnight according to the Maritime Traffic Service vessel finder, left parts of the railing broken and a metal grate hanging loose. The fire on board the cruise ship, declared after the drone attack, left the stern charred, as visual testimony to the brutality of the events. The merchant ship's distress call was answered by the Indian Navy's INS Banam, patrolling against piracy in the Gulf of Aden. The fire was brought under control, and with 22 crew members safe, the Henko Picardy headed to its next port of call. The Iran-backed gang claimed responsibility for the attack, adding a new chapter to a series of daring assaults on ships since November. Their declaration to continue attacking ships using critical shipping corridors in the Red Sea reveals a defiant stance and seemingly unwavering determination. Mohammed Abid El Salam, spokesman for the group, warns that they will not be intimidated by reprisals. Since November, the Houthis have carried out hundreds of attacks on ships in the Red Sea, citing their support for the Palestinians during Israel's campaign against Hamas in Gaza. However, the reality is that most of the ships attacked had no ties to Israel. These attacks are part of a broader response by the so-called Axis of Resistance, made up of the Houthis, Hamas and Hezbollah, all backed by Iran. The statements of the President of the United States, Joe Biden, indicate the firmness of the American position. Although previous bombings have failed to stop terrorist attacks in the Red Sea, Biden reaffirms the will to continue military operations against the Iran-backed Houthi rebels. In this complicated scenario, unknowns persist, and the narrative of this evolving conflict raises crucial questions about the effectiveness of the measures adopted and the possible geopolitical repercussions.